Wall Street will indeed be watching to see who's got it right. What is LinkedIn really worth? Joining us to talk about that is Francis Gaskin, president and editor of IPOdesktop.com, and Michael Wolff, Adweek editorial director as well as a CNBC contributor. Welcome, gentlemen. Francis, I'm going to start with you. Does the company have it right? Is it worth what its proposed IPO value is, its pricing is, or is it overvalued in your opinion?
Well, I wouldn't buy it. On the offering, if people get it, I would blow it out the first day. It's only selling 8% of the company, so that's half of what RenRen sold for. RenRen came at 14, went to 24, and now it's below the IPO price. So I think that there's a lot of pent-up demand from people that don't realize they're going to lose money. There's some other risk factors involved there also.
Yeah, RenRen went down, didn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, what is the right price for this? I mean, it's whatever the price they can get, I suppose.
That's exactly right. I think they're pricing it for the retail market, not for the institutions. I mean, I think they're projecting a loss. I think that's either overly confident or a little bit arrogant on their viewpoint. I mean, just because you spend a lot of money in sales and marketing does not mean that you're going to have, top line revenue growth. And besides, half of their sales come from feet on the street salespeople. That's hard. That's a one-on-one sales effort. It's not highly leveraged. This is not a 100% internet company.
Yeah. And Michael, what do you think is crazier, Facebook at $50 billion or LinkedIn at $4 billion?
Yeah, they're both of the same piece. LinkedIn, and it's interesting to remember, was a kind of interesting, small, relatively marginal company for a long while, well before Facebook came along. And then it got into the slipstream of social and suddenly became a darling, suddenly had an opportunity to do an IPO at this level. But this is all about social. I mean, I think we should remember this. It's not about recruitment advertising. It's not about the professional market. It's about social. And so that's the bet that you're making. And if you think that social is going to continue to grow at a ferocious rate, which I think it is, then LinkedIn is a really good bet.
And Francis, if indeed it is a successful IPO and it continues to add from its offering price, how much does that ignite the fire in the private market, in the second market, for some of those other social networking sites to indeed go public?
Well, there are a lot of those companies going public. I mean, they're wanting to go public. They'd be coming public. LinkedIn would at 77 times EBITDA, which is really high. The bar's high. If the companies don't have sequential quarterly growth, they can't do it. I'm not sure this is a social networking stock entirely, because 49% of the revenue comes from hiring solutions, and that's great when the market goes up. But what if we have a double-dip recession, and what if hiring stops? What if companies put a hiring freeze on, and this company gets half its revenue in that area?
Some people would suggest it's more of a business software company than a social networking company.
People would make these suggestions, but that's not what's happening here. And it's just a kind of interesting point of irony that they do have a legitimate business model, which, by the way, Facebook probably doesn't have. But that's not what they're selling. What they're selling is that they are a social media company, and they're selling it on a pure play social basis.
Michael,
are either of you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Are either of you on LinkedIn, and what, if anything, has it been able to do for you? Michael, you first.
I am not on LinkedIn.
But you are on Facebook.
I am on Facebook.
And you go on every day, don't you?
And I do, and I think it's an interesting distinction, and the distinction is somewhere between 4 billion and 50 or 60 or 70 or 100 billion.
Yeah, Francis, how about you? What is are you on it? Number one, number two, what has LinkedIn got that the other guys don't got?
Okay, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on LinkedIn, and it's because I just like my credentials to be up there. What I've noticed on LinkedIn...
Wait a minute. We got to stop here. You're not on Facebook?
No, he's not.
I mean, you're on this show. You're talking about social media. You're not on Facebook? It's actually the more interesting. This is this interesting question, not about people being on Facebook, but about the people who are not on Facebook. Those are the
well, I should
folks.
correct it. I am on Facebook. Just when people want to friend me, I say, okay, I'll do that. But I don't have a wall, and I don't do all that kind of stuff. But I am on Facebook for people that want to be my friends.
Well, it's nice to have friends, Francis. But what does LinkedIn do better than anybody else? In other words, what is their competitive edge versus Facebook, versus Google, versus other social or quasi-social sites?
Well, what I was going to say on LinkedIn, I do monitor LinkedIn and I look at some of the conversations, but what I notice is that the people that are very active on LinkedIn are either consultants or people out of work.
Oh, that's
which is, that's not nothing. I mean, LinkedIn is very good for people out of work, for people who are looking for a job. So it's a different. Facebook is for people who are looking for love, I suppose, in one way or another.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn has made a very, very clear, concise, targeted market in the professional community.
We interviewed a professor at Harvard once who said Facebook was about men looking for women, basically.
Looking for love. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much.